Alright, let's talk Splatoon. Hello everyone, I'm SolidAlias, and we got new kits. So, I'm gonna talk about them. I've got a little tier list I made with my expectations for where the kits will end up being. So, without further ado, I'm gonna just kind of rapid fire through these real quick. Starting off, I don't think to anyone's surprise, the arrow spray is at the bottom of my list of things. The arrow spray, it's not like a terrible kit, but it's arrow spray. It's not gonna get played. You would have to give this the most disgusting thing on the planet, like cooler, to try and make it the best cooler output weapon or something, and even then, it's probably not getting played. There's nothing you could do to really get people to pick that. Similarly for that, Carbon Roller, I don't think Carbon Roller, to anyone's surprise, is getting played really at all. I don't think Carbon Roller is a bad kit necessarily, but Carbon already has its god kit in the form of the Deco kit with Burst Bomb Zuka, so it doesn't really need another one. But, I mean, the fizzy chump situation isn't terrible. It's just, it's not like game defining. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody messes around with it, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it gets forgotten about 3 days after the patch. Next up is the Dually Squelchers. They got... the Dually Squelchers, they got Point Sensor, and what the heck is that special called? I forget. The Suminaga Seat. Oh, Suminaga Sheet. No, it's screen. And that's kind of the problem. If it's a screen weapon, it's pretty much dead on arrival in the West. The West doesn't really care for screen, regardless of whether or not it should be played. We simply do not play it, and that's okay. That's fine, you know. If that's how we're doing things, it's fine. So for that reason, I have that pretty low as well. Up next, I have the Blaster Kit, which was, if I recall, Beacon, and I don't remember it again. Is it Beacon Chumps? Seems wrong. It was Beacon Crab Tank, which, not a terrible kit. It's not like unusable.
Hey.
Up next is the Sword Kit, and the Sword Kit was... Sorry, not Sword. Both swords got a kit. The Splatana Kit. They gave Splatana something interesting as well, was the Booyah Bomb and the Auto Bomb, which again, not terrible, but ultimately likely not going to be seeing play for the same reason we won't see the Carbon Roller get play. It already has its god kit with Burst Bomb and Zipcaster, and there are just better Booyah Bomb options in the game already, so I don't really expect people to play it. Not a bad thing by any means, just unlikely to be used is all. Then we have the new Big Swig Roller, which has Torpedo and Ultra chunks, which, to be honest, probably the best thing they could have gotten out of everything they gave it. This is probably its best thing. Unfortunately, it's still on the weaker side as a main weapon, and people aren't really giving it the time of day regardless. So, even though it has some potential, it's just not likely to be played. Next up is the new Dynamo Roller, which they gave Point Sensor and Whales, which again I think can potentially cook really hard. But the real problem there is ultimately there's already a cooler dynamo, and if you're going to put a dynamo on your team, I feel like you're sliding it in for cooler. So I don't know how many people are willing to have the dynamo there and not have a bigger cooler weapon. With new cooler options, you can now maybe move it around. We have the H3 with one potentially, which will be coming up relatively soon, and we have the Pro as cooler option as well, but you're not pairing up the Pro with the Dynamo regardless, so I don't think it's going to change much. And then next up on my list of goodies is the Hydra kit, which another one that I'm not really expecting to be played all that much. I could be wrong. This one I'm like, it's got potential as a stand your ground weapon with sprinkler and barrier, or I said barrier, big bubbler, and I don't think it's going to be a bad kit. Again, same problem as a lot of things here, which is just like its other kits are probably better, and people are less likely to be playing this in general just due to the state of what Splatoon is in right now. So for that reason, it's going to end up being here. Now, going on to some things I think have some real potential is, surprisingly enough, the new Undercover kit is the God kit for the Undercover. There is no other kit that could have been better for it. This is the best timeline if you're an Undercover player, even if you don't know it yet. The Undercover one tricks who are pushing this weapon at the highest level, this is what they're gonna use. It has the 5.1 to play with and chip off of its already annoying playstyle, and the curling bomb to get in. This is the Undercover weapon. Like, there's nothing else that can really be said about it. It's just, if you're gonna be using Undercover, this is the one you pick now. It's better than the other two kits by a lot. You're gonna be able to use this to both combo with your team and off of yourself, and this is probably the most self-sufficient Undercover in the game. So, excited to see if people end up looking into that more, or if they're not really gonna think about it, but I do think that one has quite the potential. Then we have the H3, which they gave, I believe, triple splashdown, and no, this isn't splashdown. This is strikes and suction, I believe. Yeah, this should be strikes suction, which again, pretty strong kit. The main problem with this, honestly, is just that we already have two strikes shooters that are going to get the strikes sooner, and both of those are probably better weapons than H3 right now. Now, if H3 pushers come out of the woodworks and somehow manage to get this weapon on the map, you might see some potential H3 gameplay coming out here. But regardless, I do think this is going to have some potential to be really strong. Speaking of things with a lot of potential, this should, realistically speaking, be lower, just due to the nature of, I know Splatoon top players are sheeple, and thus this will never get touched. But this splash kit is kind of disgusting. Toxic Mist and Rain is a diabolical combo for stalling and standing your ground in the comps that you want to do that in. Like, if you've ever played Scorch Gorge Clams, like, you just put this on your ramp, and then how does the enemy team ever push? Ever. It's not there's no possibility. It's an impossibility, actually. You are simply cooked. So I'm fairly confident that, given some time and some love, I do think this will do very well. And then speaking of things I think will do quite well, this Octobrush has a lot of potential. I don't think it's the best thing it could have gotten, but it's not the worst either. It has Auto Bomb with Kraken Royale, and I think that's probably the best thing we could have gotten for it at this point, with what it had left to get. Maybe a Burst Bomb, but Kraken Royale, already an aggressive special, and this is one of the few weapons in this game that's actually going to want to be up close and personal when it pops it, and won't be out of position by using the Kraken aggressively. And the other one will be coming up quite soon, but I do think this is going to do very well. So for that reason, I'm excited to see what people are going to do with that. And then next up is, of course, the new Paintbrush, which also got a pretty decent kit, I would say. What's it called? Yeah, they gave it the wall and Zuka, which really interesting combo for something like this, because it already walls out so many different weapons, and while it does need time to ramp up, giving it time to ramp up behind a wall is kind of gross. Not only that, it struggles a little bit to approach when it doesn't have time to ramp up, but throwing the wall in front of it is going to give it a lot of time to just get into position to be at its strongest. So I think that's going to be a really interesting tool for it to get some frags, because otherwise it can get a little stally and struggle to actually stick to its targets. But with how it's built now, I don't think it's going to struggle that much. Next is another decent weapon kit, in my opinion, which is the Tri-Stringer. Now, originally, I had this a lot lower, because we've established already that Jetpack Inkjet is just not meta. It was meta when in ballpoint meta, but it's just fallen out of favor. You don't really see any Inkjet weapons. And for a while it wasn't really being played, but recently Inkjet has been showing back up a lot. I was talking to Sylphie about this a lot, where Inkjet is in a spot where its players are spacing it out from its opponents. So before, it was like one E-liter used to be a lot more popular, so that was a problem. And now, and like after E-liter, it was pretty much just always pencil. And while the pencil is still a problem, you have a lot of options for comboing off of this Inkjet with the main weapon. And then not only that, the Inkjet itself can just be played in a way to space around the pencil, because you don't have to pop it in the pencil's range to get value out of it. It has a lot of range on those shots, so potentially, as long as people continue pushing this and getting better at it and improving it, I do think we will see a lot of good things from this Tri-Stringer. And speaking of the stringers, right next to it is going to be the Reflux and its kit, which is the Torpedo and Booyah Bomb. Now, I'm not gonna make it this video, but I've been meaning to make a video about how fucking broken Reflux is since it was released in this game. It is good at everything. It has long range, it has an 11 frame kill time, it paints good, it has 3 good kits now instead of just 2. Now it has 3 good kits. It fucking does your taxes, it files your homework, it kisses your wife. This weapon does everything for you, and it's getting another thing to do that with. So this is just another reason to get people to potentially push the weapon. The only thing holding it back is that Splatoon players refuse to try new things. And that's okay. You know, you can't force everyone to want to play new things. And that's okay. That's life, you know? But if people give this thing a shot, it is going to be monstrous, and it might have the placebo effect of becoming the biggest problem on the planet. It probably won't because people won't pick it, but if they do, we could be in trouble. Speaking of potential trouble, we have the 96 kit with its line marker and Tacticooler. So the thing about this is I just don't see a world where this is your Tacticooler weapon. I don't hate where I have this on the list because I do think it has potential, and I do think comboing a line marker is decent, and more cooler options always going to be good. Not going to complain about cooler options when we're still in the cooler meta of all time. However, I do believe that it's less likely to be used just due to the fact of why is this the cooler weapon I'm picking. The other H3 kit, the other 96 kits are also good on top of that, so it's not like you're pushing this because you need a kit and you like 96. If you like 96, you can play 96 Deco and you're fine. Or you can play the VAC one if you're me and you think VAC is sick. But there's not really a reason to pick this unless it's like just an option for your team now because you already had a 96 player. And I feel like people underestimate the ability to just adding options to the game because it doesn't necessarily have to be stronger or a side grade to an already decent pick to be useful. Because if my team is already strong and then I get to put a cooler on my team without losing all of the synergy I have between my weapons, that's massive. That's just huge for my team compositions because I now have an extra option. And then after this, we need to talk about the dualies. And the dualies also got a good kit because everything got a pretty decent kit. They didn't really... Well, you know, there's some interesting kits, but I don't think anything got like downright unusable things. And the dualies, they got the what is this? I believe this is Suction Bomb and Big Bubbler, which is pretty neat because what this is going, the niche this can fill is what people are doing right now with the roller, where it is getting up close and then standing its ground with its bubbler. I think this weapon is going to be really good at standing its ground using its bubble to fight. So for that reason, I think it's going to do pretty decent numbers already, on top of the fact that dualies are just a strong main weapon in this game. So I do think this is the better of the three kits, especially because you don't want Crab Tank on your dualies. I just think you'd rather have the dualies. And the second kit has Splashdown, which means this is probably your best bet. Next up is my personal bread and butter and favorite weapon of the patch, the new Splatter Shot, which has Burst Bomb Kraken. That's diabolical. It's going to be the Kraken option. If you're picking Kraken, you're using this. There are no ifs, ands, or buts. The 96 Krakens are dead. They are all Splatter Shot Krakens now. It has Burst Bomb. This is going to be a solo queue menace. You're going to see this for the rest of this game's lifespan in your X-Rank games. I hope you are going to be okay. If you aren't going to be okay, it's okay. You only have to suffer for like 2 more years. So yeah, have fun with that. But actually, you won't have to see this quite as much as something later, but this will be one of the things you see the most for the rest of the game. It's going to be disgusting, and I'm very excited to be a new Splatter Shot abuser, as I've been abusing the other 2 Splatter Shots since day 1. So this is going to be very good for yours truly. And then next up we have the tent. And the tent being this high is probably surprising for a couple of people. So the tent does have its god kit in Mine's Zuka. I don't think you can really improve upon that kit. However, this tent is trying to do something completely different. Whereas that tent is good for just aggressing and pushing your team in, this tent with poison and the decoys is going to be the stand your ground of all time. So, again, similar situation to the splash where you're just constantly able to throw poison mist on Scorch Clamps. But now, on top of the mist, there's also a tent there. And on top of that, you have 3 other weapons that can just have lethals to throw. Your ability to get in is going to be stunted by the entire composition due to the fact that the tent now actually has a decent stopping weapon that isn't mine. Like mines you can just shoot out and just avoid, but mist is big enough and wide enough, and with the mist getting a buff this patch, like you're going to have to deal with it, and it's going to be very not good for you. So I do think that's going to be very good. And then next up should be the L3, which also got a pretty decent kit. I know I've been saying that a lot, but these kits are interesting. And I think the problem is ultimately going to end up being how many people aren't going to try the kits out, just due to the fact that a lot of Splatooners are doomers and do not have free thought. But if you are a free thinker, this patch has so much potential for so many different things. Especially this L3. Like, I'm not an L3 player, but I feel like Splash Bomb Jet is gross for the same reasons stated before about how people are making jetpacks work a lot more. So if we see more Inkjet, this is a potential shooter Inkjet that's just going to be really strong, because we don't really have that niche isn't really filled right now. So besides that, we have the new Squelcher, or I said Squelcher, Jet Squelcher, and it has Burst Bomb, Splashdown. Now, people heard Burst Bomb, got excited, heard Splashdown, and then just wept. But Splashdown really isn't as bad of a special as people are giving it are saying. If you like the Burst Bomb for like just, you know, being able to defend yourself and keep people off of you, the Splashdown synergizes with that, because Burst Bomb's going to chip them, and then even if they swim out of most of the Splashdown, they're going to get hit by one of the fists, take 70, and die. Like, that's just what's going to happen. Not only that, but this is also going to allow it to get its special even faster, because Burst Bombs paint a lot, which means it's pretty much always going to have it, which means you can have a very hard time moving this jet when it's put in good spots. So I do think we might see more jet because of that, but I wouldn't count on it. I would like to see more jet, but I would not count on it, simply due to people not really picking things like this these days. But something I do think might get picked is the new Try Bucket, which, again, I do think is going to suffer from lack of people playing it. But it has a Splatter Bomb and Screen is an amazing special if you ask anyone who isn't from the West. Screen is a phenomenal special, and it is very powerful, provided you know how to get the usage out of it. So I do think this has potential to be a pretty strong option for Screen, especially since it's synergized with it being able to walk up with the screen and use its smoke screen as a way to both chip opponents and to get up close and personal, which is one of the main weaknesses of the Try, just being like actually trying to get in. Not only that, it's going to be able to combo with its bomb pretty well for the 30 damage hit, and it's just overall going to be able to set some pretty nice and nasty traps. So this Try is also going to be quite a decent kit. Now, the thing about the Dapples is I don't think the kit's bad. I think the kit is pretty decent, but again, it's going to suffer from one of my kits has cooler syndrome, which basically means how do I justify not picking the cooler version of this set? Like I don't think this is a bad kit by any means, but in fact I think this is probably the kit that is best suiting it with a splat bomb and lasers. But the problem is ultimately just going to be, hey, this has cooler on it, I'm picking cooler, and that's just going to be the end of the conversation. Then we have the new mini Splatling, which I also think is going to be pretty potentially disgusting. So, the mini Splatling already really good at holding space and moving around a lot. It can skirmish really, really well. So it having beacons is fine because it's really self-sufficient. It doesn't need a bomb, so getting a utility sub is fine. And then it got Zuka. And it's like, oh, okay. So on top of it having pretty good matchups into anything with comparable range it has, now for the matchups it doesn't have a good matchup into, it pops Zuka and wins. That's awesome. That's great. I can't wait to see that in solo queue and in every sendo queue tournament ever for the rest of the time. That'll be awesome. Now, the Wiper kit, I think this is the best case scenario for the Wiper, but it's sad. It's a really boring sub. It's already good at getting in, so I don't think it needed the curling bomb. It's already a really fast, hypermobile weapon. The Zuka is disgusting on it. That's the real reason it's up here. The curling bomb is disappointing, but it getting Zuka is pretty much saving the show here because this is probably the best special of the three that it's got in the Wiper kits. So for that reason alone, I do think the Wiper is going to be picked. But everything I've mentioned now is hubbaloo. It's nonsense compared to what I'm going to be calling the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, the 4 most played weapons, the meta definers of this patch, the big winners. Up first is the Pro Chara screaming and creaming in his pants, the Dreadringer kit of everyone's dreams. It got curling bomb grab tank. Now, Dreadringer, people have been saying Dreadringer was pretty decent, probably at least a month or so after it came out. Like, there was a lot of, like, it could be good, it could be not good, and then everyone pretty much said, nah, this is shit. And then a couple of top players went, hold on, the Dreadringer might be cooking, and then everybody went, oh, and then they proceeded to ruin solo queue by spamming Dreadringer into Reef Slider and not thinking with their brain. And it's like, okay, that's fine, that's where we're at. But now we have a Dreadringer that has a decent and objectively better kit. This Dreadringer is going to be very, very strong and competitive. It's going to be able to fill a really good niche as a paint support that also gets to back up. It's basically what you were doing with Splash already, but with more range and able to chip teammates in a very big chip meta for Splatoon right now. Because Sword is still probably the strongest weapon in the game. It's not close. We have so many new burst bomb options to be playing with it now. We still have Pencil in the meta. So having something that was basically what old Splash was, and on top of that giving it crab tank, you're out of your mind. This is going to be played a lot. It's going to be so strong. Then we have the Rapid Pro kit, which got cooler. It's a cooler backline option that isn't Pencil. We're cooked. It's cooked. The cooler players, they are gleaming. They are gleaming with opportunity to pick anything that isn't what they were already picking. No more headed, no more pencil. This is a more mobile, potentially more useful backline that won't be too slow at getting cooler. Is it going to be slower than pencil? Yes. Is this going to be able to poke at a lot of options and be a really good niche in the modes that pencil wasn't being played in? Absolutely. I do think this is going to be one of the stronger things here. Not as strong as 2 and 1, but I do think it is really strong. And 2, as I foreshadowed earlier, is the new Splattershot Pro, which it does not need to be said. It is a shooter that got missiles. We have a regular shooter in this game that has missiles now. Splatoon 2 fans are quaking in their boots. They're hiding under the covers. The boogeyman is back, and they are terrified. The boogeyman is here, and he is not leaving without his due diligence. Missiles have been waiting to come back into this game since the beginning when they initially got nerfed. They are finally confident enough that they've toned the special back that they can put it on a shooter. And Pro got paint buffs on top of all of this a couple of patches ago. This thing is going to be in every solo queue match for the rest of time. You will be getting missiled every 45 seconds till the day you die. Welcome to Splatoon 3. I love Splatoon. There's more Splatoon. Yeah, it's cooked. It's over. We're cooked, guys. Go ahead and pack it up. And the only thing I think is packing it up more than that is the new charger. And I don't know why. I know I'm gonna get hate on this. That this new charger kit is shit. It's dookie water. It's bad. It's a nothing burger. It has a sprinkler and crab tank. Dead on arrival. I don't think you guys realize how powerful it is to have a charger that is already short charge, that already has good matchups in the most backlines. The only thing it's losing to right now is pencil, and now it gets a special that can beat pencil. It no longer has to win the 1v1 against the pencil, it can just move the pencil by itself. It might, I'm not gonna say it's gonna kill pencil, but if I cope hard enough, it could be the pencil slayer. Don't at me. Actually, do at me. If this kills pencil, at me. Tell everyone it was my idea. It was all me. I was the one who figured it out. It was me. But that's gonna be it for me. Thank you so much for watching this quick little ideas thing I had for the tier list for the Splatoon 3 weapons. Hope everyone has a good day. Can't wait to play the patch tonight. I'm gonna eat and go to bed. Goodbye.